Good morning, Rabbi Isai. We are holding today in Chulin Daf Kuf Tesvav. We're going to start Be'ez Hashem, starting in the two dots in the bottom of Daf Kuf Yudal Amud Beis. So what the Gemara now is discussing is what is the source, what is the mokar that Basar v'Cholav is also? Meaning, where do we have this? It says that we know, but how do I know that there's Isur of Achilo? How do I know there's Isur of Hano? So the Gemara before brought the idea of lois. It says kol sheti avtilcha lois achal kol te'evo. Anything which is a te'evo don't eat something which is te'evo. What makes it te'evo? Shabbos said it's also, so it makes it te'evo. So the Gemara is continuing that theme. Says the Gemara, elam ha'ato davkut tizol mudalaf on top. Ma'ase Shabbos litzu. So if you say anything is te'evo, meaning etzem becomes also, so why do you say the ma'ase Shabbos are mutter? So a person went and he cooked on Shabbos. The chura should be it should be a double also by bachil also by not that he have to lecho it's a teivo. Omakok he kodesh shilachem he kodesh vein maseh kodesh. Especially because by Shabbos that Shabbos is kodesh. What you do in Shabbos doesn't become kodesh, not us. Continue the Gemara on choyrish b'shor v'chamor choyrish b'shor v'chamor choyrish b'shor v'chamor. The choisem piparo v'dashbo litzu. That you have to hold. So now that you're saying anything which is te'evo is also. So also someone who goes and he plows with a shor v'chamor kilayim, or someone goes and takes an animal and he muzzles her mouth. So it should be a problem. It's te'evo. Torah doesn't have to do it. Hashto says more very simple. Mas Shabbos the chamir or masem mutarim ani l'kol shekin. So you mean like more than come on and say. Really, this one without 5 lines at the top, that you're right, we're learning from Shabbos. So the Torah on one hand says whatever's toivo you can't eat. But you just say not everything is included in that important point. Kilis royim litzru. What about kilaim of planting kilaim together? That you have to it's also toivo. But when you're planting wheat in a vineyard, then it says tukadesh. He says tukdash, lun tukadesh. So you have to get rid of it. Chal the kili zorim show. Tosfos points out the one could have said we learned from Shabbos the way we said before. Okay. You want to say you learn from kilayim of kerem. Says not so chomer. Who said it's mutter completely? Maybe it's mutter only. It's also b'achila mutter b'ano. So the more you kashul kali beim, you learn from kilayim beim. The beim the chol terbiyah kilayim. You compare kilayim of an animal to kilayim of a field. By behem is mutter. It's so this is also mutter. Says the more of a kilo behem go find me no. How do you know that kilayim of behem what's coming out as mutter? It says you're not allowed to be some migdosh, an animal which is a mixed breed. Says the more oisav is mnoy litzer. Why do you say by oisav is mnoy that should be also ba'achilu ba'ano? It also achmonim mechusas man legavoya. By gavoya it says you can't bring it too early. Chal d'lehedyot shor. Shiluach haken litzer. This is partial. Shiluach haken. When a person went and said when it says send the mother away, so the mother should not be. You're now supposed to kill it. So maybe it becomes te'ev. You can't eat it. If you send the bird away, someone's going to capture. He's not going to know the bird was sent from Shulchan again. Okay, so Atkan is the Mahalach. So I mean, the Gemara started in the middle of yesterday's daf. Anybody who learned Shabbos daf has obviously saw it. That how do we know Isur Achila and Obe Basar V'Cholav? Because it says Toeva. Anything is Toeva because Baruch Kol Shetiach Techol Obe Bal Toechal. That was Joshua number 1. So when I ask all kinds of different mitzvahs that we have are Toeva, why don't you say the same thing? Now like more brings another Joshua. Amal Shlokish. Minayin lebasar v'cholav she'asur she'tamur lo'imar al tochlu mimenu no uvashel v'vushel. Says about Pesach, don't eat it raw. Ubashel v'vushel can't eat also cooked. She'etam lo mevushel. Bashel means don't eat it cooked. What is bashel mevushel? Matomud lo mevushel. Lo imelecho yesh lecha bishul acher shu kazeh. There's another bishul. He says, it's the basar v'cholav. Even though we're not talking about basar, we're talking about Pesach. But you're saying bishul to tell you. There's another one, Al Toichlu. Another pasuk is a Joshua for that. When I've covered this one with Beis, Keura Zo, Shoshana Rebbe, Lo techlenu, that says in the pasuk, by Parshas Rei, it says lo techlenu, it says lo techlenu, many different things that it says regarding psula mukdashim. So when you have a kosher that became pasul, you have to treat it in a certain way. And it says the word lo techlenu a few times. So the one that asks why it says lo techlenu so many times. Talking about basar b'cholov, because it says later there, it says we learn later basar b'cholov in that parsha. I thought you basar b'cholov. More explains. I thought you basar b'cholov because from that there, the lo sechlenu that refers to psula b'kedoshim. He's talking about basar b'cholov, or in a little bit chad mikol isur shivatoyu, or maybe he's talking about something else. I might say uman mil gimel midas shatur nidash beim. What in the gimel midas him? Davar lo minyan. You learn from that same parsha. But now, because without meaning, what are we talking about over there? Psula Mikdoshim. Rashi learned Psula Mikdoshim by definition is two meaning. Why? Because it was Hegdish, but now it became puzzle. So it's a combination of Hegdish and Chulin. We treat it with respect, but not fully. So it's like two animals. Torah says a little differently because it says the Torah says Psula Mikdoshim, you treat it like Tzvi ve'ayol. So you compare the two meaning. One of both ways Rashi says it's considered to be two different meanings. Afkan mishnei meanings. So see it's two meaning. So you see over here that wow, lo sechlenu. You see from here yisur achila. Okay, you can't eat it. Maybe you can enjoy basar b'cholov. Kamash v'lan. That's why you need the other pasuk of Rish Lakish from Pesach. For Rebbe ba'ano minoli, Rebbe they learn from here how do you know anoy? Now afkalei me'ochon. Imarkal kiyam kadosh atol shem lokecho. By basar b'cholov. It says let's drink b'chlei b'moi. Israel. That's this week's parsha. In parsha Vayikidetze, you should have kodesh meaning marrying a Jew with a goy. Ma'alalum be'ano meaning you're not allowed to have any enjoyment. Afkar ma'ano, so not only you can't eat, you can't enjoy it too. Dever is lo zotana. Another Josh. Lo soichlu kol nevelo. Omer Torah keshet kereno lo yisivashleno v'tiv kereno. So it says after, but that same pasuk goes over Chol. It says lo yisachlu kol nevelo, and it says lo yisivashel gdi b'chalev moy. So it means don't cook and sell. Don't eat nevela, give it to a guy. Don't cook. Actually, don't cook and sell. It means you can't enjoy it. Because if I could cook it and sell it, so I'm enjoying it. Finally, we get into the drasha. This is a famous drasha. This is really how the Shulchan Aruch starts Yechezkel basar b'cholov. And the Shaila of the Bnei Achrim discuss why everybody else before him disagrees with this. What is the Tan? What did Tan Yishmael said? Lo yisev shegdi b'chalev imoy gimel pa'amim. It says 3 times. Chad l'isur achilo, can't eat. Chad l'isur anoi, can't enjoy. Chad l'isur bishu, can't even cook. That's where you learn from. That's his source. Pashas the machlokes. Again, the Achrim want to say maybe others agree with his drush. Says what Tanya Yisib bin Yudoim maybe nine basar b'cholov shasur. How do you know it's asur? Emar kan kiyam kadosh ato by basar b'cholov. V'nemar lo'olom that shekoidish tiyuli basar b'seder treifel lo yisoichelu. Right? Don't eat treifel. Ma lo'olom asur. Afkan asur. You can't eat it. V'heli elu b'achilo b'anomi nine. Okay, you can't eat it. How do you know you can't enjoy it? Almost kavochem. Umar lo sheloi nevda. Because here it says, Umar lo sheloi nevda ba'averu. Asur ba'ano. Arla, what is Arla? The first 3 years the tree grows. Did I do anything wrong? No, it's natural. Still, you're not allowed to enjoy it even. It's Arla was never good. Right. But each one of them was good. The meat alone was good. Milk alone was good. So what about Chometz Pesach? It was good before Pesach. Oh, so I have a limud. Malachon Pesach she can only chorus. 1 second. That's a different level. Chometz Pesach is chorus. We're going into the third thing. Now, the Gemara is going to ask, why don't I go back? Right? Every time in the Gemara, I learn from 1, I can't. So I learn from 2. Count from 2 and make a common denominator between the 2. Right. The Gemara is going to ask, why don't I do that? I'm going to the third thing. I'm running to Kilakar. Sheino, no cars, but Kilakar when you plant seeds into a vineyard. Right? That's it. So I live over there. So Lama Ligzer Shava. Lacy Kulu Kavachoyer Me'or. Just look straight. I need to Ligzer Shava. Look Kavachoyer. Umar, Lashav the Bavir Sur, Ben Machilo Ben Mano. Buzz Bachol Shav the Bavir and Adit Chasu Ben Machilo Ben Mano. So we learn Ligzer Shava from we said Kodesh, and then we add Orla. Right? The Gemara says Kodesh Kodesh. It says so just learn on Orla and that's it. Right? What was it with the Brisa? We're learning Zer Shava Kodesh Kodesh. And we said, okay, Achilu, what about no? Kavachayim from Orla. So just go straight to Orla. Says the Gemara, which we said in Mudalef, when you plow with two animals, or you muzzle animal, you can't just say Kavachayim. Because I find something which is not true. So you can't learn from there without the Gzer Shava. Okay, now the Gemara goes back to the question we just asked. Why have to go to Kila Kerim? You said Orla can't learn because Orla did actually has a kosher. So you learn with Pesach. Pesach is chorus. Tzad Hashaveh. No, you can't do the tzad Hashaveh. You say that both or mutar also ba'achila mutar also ba'ana. No, nevelo, a carcass is also ba'achila mutar ba'ana. That's not a good time. Why? So he says, "Kol ma'atzad migufa bechinan, me'amuler bechinan." No, when you have a ma'atzad, now the Gemara gives us the last next few lines, some rules in terms of Rashi says in the end, it's all coming halacha Moshe Sinai. We learned there's such a thing called atzad hashaveh. What's atzad hashaveh? The Torah gives you one pasuk. I can't learn from there, so I learn another pasuk. Can't learn from there. I learn from the common denominator. There's some rules. How do I then can ask questions? The question you can ask is, you can learn from A or B. You want to learn from the middle? No, A and B have something else. I can't ask from C. Right. You're asking from C. Where it says, let's learn from Orla. Can't. Let's learn from Pesach. I can't. So let's do Tzad Hashaveh. What about Nevelo? You can't ask Nevelo once you went. You can't do that. It has to be Migufo. So the more Yachates and Me'atzad. Okay, so I don't say back to the question. So let's say a common denominator between Orla and Pesach. Says the woman, no riot. You know why? Orla is from the ground, and Pesach, Chometz, is growing from the ground. It's wheat. Maybe things coming from the ground is different than the bus of a cholav. Bus of a cholav is the animal. Okay. So what do we learn from? What does it give the Brisa? Let's learn from Orla. No good. Because it was never good. Chod Pesach, no good. It's kilayim. So he said, okay, I can't learn from both. I'm going to kilayim. Kilayim. Kilayim is also growing from the ground. You just said you can't learn because it's growing from the ground. It says the Gemara, Kol matzat pachinon koldu. Another rule. But matzat, if I have a common denominator, even if I have the most small question, I have some svara to be mechalik, I can say it. But if I'm learning from one pasuk, I need to have a good pircha. Well, who cares that it's growing from the ground? Why is growing from the ground make it better or worse? So, but Matzad, that's a good question. So Matzad is, let's do a common denominator. Oh, it's not a common denominator. That's Gedula Karka. That's not. Rashi says, oh, lochel b'shv'sinai. But there is some kind of logic to it. If I need to know common denominator, it needs to be a common thing. You want to learn something which is not in the same category, don't bring it. But I'm learning one pasuk, another pasuk. It has to be something that makes sense. The fact that grew from the ground doesn't make sense. Says the Gemara, so it has to be either kal v'chomer here means not kal v'chomer, it means kal or chomer. It has to be either lighter or heavier. But not koldu. Koldu means just something which is not the same, right? If I give an example, you want to learn from, the cow is brown and the wheat is a little brown, so you can't learn milk is white. Well, shaykhis. That sounds you may say it. Says the Gemara, one second. So now you're learning, the Gemara says right now, I tried Erla, Pesach, I'll go to Kilayim. So the Gemara says, okay, so I have your common theme of three. So I'll ask on all three. All these three are Gedula Karka. Hello, that's what Shlokish says. Here's the rules. Let's learn the rules. If I'm learning one from one. You have to ask a strong question. Kal or chomer. But not just, it's not the same thing. Learning one from two. Even the smallest question I'm going to ask it. One from three different things, like we have over here. Pesach, Orlo, Kilayim. If you're learning it as a common theme, if I would tell you, oh, you can't learn from Kilayim. Can't learn from Kilayim. Okay, but let's do a common denominator between Orlo, Pesach, Kilayim. Then Pachin and Kol, you can ask even the smallest question. V'loi, if it's not when it's like over here. Here we tried to learn from Orlo, we say we can't learn. We tried to learn with Pesach, we can't learn. The Gemara said something which is now said in the Bryce, so let's do a common denominator, I can't learn. So I learn from Kilayim, I don't need the other two. So Kula v'chur Pachinon, Kul Dular Pachinon. So this is the rule. In order to ask I'm going to say it just to emphasize it. In order to ask a klotz kasha, it needs to be a tzad hashava. Tzad hashava, common denominator, it's not exactly the same. But if it's not a tzad hashava, you can't ask a klotz kasha. That's what the Gemara gives us the rule. Even though I have 3 psukim, but I'm now learning common denominator. I'm learning Kilayim can be a klotz kasha. We said, Gomer, this will end today's daf.